All right, so folks, check this out. We just got a pretty major update on the whole Ghislaine Maxwell Epstein files story that is truly stunning. This article that we're about to go through in the Wall Street Journal genuinely left me pretty shocked with just how blatant the Trump admin's cover-up of the Epstein story is, how they're very obviously trying to keep Ghislaine Maxwell quiet for Donald Trump's benefit. She's getting special treatment in prison, meeting with secret individuals while all the other inmates can't know anything about her. It's very, very strange. We're going to go through all of this information and more in just a moment. Before I do so, I ask that you subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. I really appreciate it. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And without further ado, let's just dive in. There's so much to get through today. Let's start with the article. The article from the Wall Street Journal, Lockdowns and a Mysterious Meeting. A quiet Texas prison adapts to life with Ghislaine Maxwell. And here is where it jumps right into the insanity. On a weekend in mid-August, hundreds of inmates at a minimum security prison in Bryan, Texas, were locked down during their usual time for strolling the campus and visiting with family and friends, all except one person, Ghislaine Maxwell, the 63-year-old associate of Jeffrey Epstein, who was convicted for some of the worst crimes in modern American history. While her fellow inmates were confined to their dormitories after breakfast, Maxwell met with several visitors in the federal prison camp's chapel, according to people familiar with the matter. That, folks, is special treatment. Prison is being shut down so Ghislaine Maxwell can have meetings with mysterious people who, by the way, we still don't know who these people are. The Trump administration has not said so. Nobody from the Bureau of Prisons has said so. Nobody in the prison is even allowed to talk about it, which we'll go through in just a moment. It is truly crazy. And just remember that over the summer, randomly, one day, Ghislaine Maxwell was moved from a high-level security prison in Florida to a low-level security prison in Texas, where normally non-violent inmates are meant to be. But then suddenly Ghislaine Maxwell, who is obviously a violent inmate committing horrible crimes, is moved to this prison where she gets to do job training and she gets to do yoga and things like that. That is incredibly suspicious. Very, very weird. The transfer, of course, as you'll folks remember, followed an interview with Todd Blanche, during which Maxwell said she had never saw Donald Trump do anything wrong with anybody. And so she said that, and then she got moved to a nicer prison. Isn't that weird? Maxwell's unexpected arrival upset the camp's usually relaxed atmosphere, leading to more frequent lockdowns, the addition of armed guards, and other changes. It couldn't be determined whom Maxwell met with in the chapel that day. Some prisoners heard the lockdown was needed to accommodate important visitors. Who are the important visitors? I mean, with everything the Republicans have done to cover up the Epstein files, I think it's pretty important for the American people to know who these important visitors are that are meeting with, again, one of the worst criminals in modern American history, who happens to have been, best friends with the current president of the United States. One inmate recalled seeing Maxwell return to the Madison dormitory unit that day with a smile on her face. It is so sickening to think that this person who has done so many awful things to people is just getting handed special treatment from the president of the United States, so much so that she's meeting with people secretly, having prisons shut down, and she's happy about it. She's smiling. And the story continues to get worse. And I think this is a really important point to talk about, this prison that she's at. Most candidates for this medium security prison committed white-collar crimes. They face short sentences or have served a large portion of a longer one and are considered a low-flight risk. None of these things apply to Ghislaine Maxwell. The Bureau of Prisons policies prohibit sex offenders from serving time in minimum security facilities without a special waiver, which means that Maxwell somehow got a special waiver. From who? We still don't know. I think the best guess is Donald Trump. Maxwell has the fourth largest remaining sentence of more than the 600 inmates at this prison. And you can see just a graph that shows you all of the different time frames of people, or I should say the sentences of people at this prison. Maxwell has the fourth longest sentence. She should not be there, and yet she is. Now, I do want to get into this, which might be the craziest part of the story, and that includes even weirder than the secret meetings she's had. This is where the Wall Street Journal details how people in this prison are not allowed to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell to the media. Check this out. The warden called a town meeting for inmates. She warned that if inmates made threats to Maxwell, put her in any sort of danger, or talked to the press about her, they'd be shipped to a harsher facility. The Journal sent more than 100 letters through the prison mail system to reach potential witnesses to Maxwell's stay in the facility. It conducted interviews with current and former inmates and people who are in touch with them. Christine Irwin, a 46-year-old Texas accountant convicted of defrauding a law firm where she worked, said in a telephone interview that she could discuss Maxwell only in general terms because of the prohibition. But then, one day after she spoke to the Journal, her prison email privileges were suspended. Within days, she had been moved to a higher security prison in Houston. Her lawyer said he learned of the move from the Journal and didn't know the reason. Inmates said other inmates were transferred after discussing Maxwell with someone outside of the prison. So if you even mention Maxwell to reporters outside of the prison, you get shipped to a higher security prison, even if your sentence is just, or if the crime you committed is white collar, which typically white collar crimes, as we read, fit into this low level security camp. That's crazy. That screams cover up to me. I mean, I don't think you have to be Albert Einstein to put two and two together here, that if Maxwell is getting secret meetings with secret individuals and getting prisons shut down so she can do it, and nobody can speak about her to reporters, that seems like the president of the United States is protecting her. The Bureau of Prisons is protecting her. And it seems, if I just had to take a guess, given some recent news, that the weight of this story is kind of weighing on Donald Trump. He made a very weird comment yesterday saying that he doesn't think he's heaven-bound. Perhaps Donald Trump is reflecting on things and activities he used to do with his former best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know. But just take a look at this clip. It is crazy. Watch.
Go ahead. You had talked a couple weeks ago, you were doing an interview, and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven, okay? I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but
Seems like someone feels a little guilty. Seems like somebody might be reflecting on everything that he might have done in his private life. And it wouldn't surprise me if he is, given that in the news right now, Adelita Grijalva, a Democrat, won a special election in Arizona's 7th congressional district. You know when this article was published? September 23rd. It is now October 13th, and she still hasn't been sworn in. Why has she not been sworn in? Well, she would be the tie-breaking vote to release the Epstein files. So this has very much been in the news. This story has not gone away, even though Donald Trump has wanted it to. But the Republicans are blocking her from taking office because she would vote to release the Epstein files. All of this, every single thing that the Republicans are doing in connection to this story screams cover up to me. And there are some things I just want people to remember as we go through this story, and hopefully Adelita Grijalva, who won her election overwhelmingly, gets sworn in. There's things that we should remember. Number one, we have Epstein's private calendar, which listed names like Steve Bannon, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and Prince Andrew, all on Epstein's schedule. For example, here's one where in November 27th, 2017, he was meant to have lunch with Peter Thiel, who is, of course, like J.D. Vance's teacher, mentor, somebody who's invested hundreds of millions of dollars in Republican candidates. Or even this one, Saturday, December 6th. Reminder, Elon Musk to Island. Is this still happening? Don't forget that this is from Epstein's private calendar. And also don't forget about this letter. I mean, this letter cannot go under the rug in connection with everything. If you just put it all together with the protection that Trump is giving Maxwell, with the cover up of the files, with the relationship that Trump had with Epstein, such as, enigmas never age in this letter. We have certain things in common, says Trump to Jeffrey. Very strange. So look, this story about Ghislaine Maxwell having secret meetings at this prison, having inmates not allowed to talk about her to journalists, incredibly strange. So I just had to bring it to you. I'll leave the video there. Please make sure to subscribe down below. As I said, it does go an incredibly long way. I greatly appreciate it. Drop a like on the video, comment. Please let me know what you think about this story. I always love to read your comments. You guys are always so insightful and give me a new perspective on these things that I hadn't thought about previously, so please make sure to do that. But regardless of all that, I thank you for being here, and can keep fighting, keep the faith, and we're in this together.